Hello everyone, and I wanted to come on today to show you my cute little cat and my cute little 3 kittens. They're so cute. Okay, so anyway, today I just wanted to review how to compare fractions because today, one of our lessons, you are going to need to know how you can compare fractions. So let's just go over a few of those problems so when you are working independently, you will be able to do that. Okay? All right. So let's look at the first problem. The first problem looks something like this, and you will have a number line, 2 number lines, and on the top it tells you to plot 1/3, and it's written out in words. And if you notice here, your number line begins with a 0 and it ends with a 1. Not counting the 0, you have 1, 2, 3 tick marks, and that makes sense because the fraction is 1/3. So if we're filling in our number line, we start with 0 and then we have 1/3. Now you will go ahead on your screen and you'll actually be able to move this 1/3 right here, okay? You will not be able to fill in this point here, but that point, if you were going to continue, would be 2/3. So if we're counting, we have 1/3, 2/3, and 1. Well, 1 is the same as 3/3. Remember, anytime you have a numerator and denominator that is the same number, the number is 1. And since we're counting in thirds, 1 in this case is 3/3. So we have 1/3, 2/3, 3/3, which is 1. Okay, so I'm just going to plot that point. You will not be able to plot 1/3, but you know that that point is 1/3, okay? Now you need to plot 1/2, written in words, and that is 1/2. So you can go ahead and take your 1/2 and drag drop it right here. Now let's look at our tick marks. We have 1, 2 tick marks, and that makes sense because our denominator is 2. So again, we move our 1/2, and then 1/2, 1. Well, since we're counting in halves, we can say 1/2, 2/2, and it makes sense because 2/2 is the same as 1. And now we need to compare. Well, which fraction? We have 1/3. Is 1/3 greater than 1/2? Is 1/3 less than 1/2? Or is 1/3 equal to 1/2? Well, let's look at it. Here is 1/3, and look at the distance. And look at the distance from 0 to 1/2. Well, 1/2 takes up more of the number line. So 1/2 is actually greater. So if we're looking at this, we can say that 1/3 is less than 1/2. Okay? So that's how you do that problem. Let's look at this page. We're plotting 1/8. And again, 1/8, so we should have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 tick marks. And again, we'll take our 1/8 and we'll drag it right here. But for the sake of this video, I'll just say 1/8, 2/8, 3/8, 4/8, 5/8, 6/8, 7/8, and 8/8, and that makes sense because 8/8 is 1. And let me plot my point. And now I have 1/4 here, so I am going to take my 1/4 and move it to the first tick mark, which is 1/4, 2/4, 3/4, and 4/4, which is 1. And when I am comparing them, I can see here that from 0 to 1/8, it's only this much. And from 0 to 1/4, it's only that much. It's that much, so 1/4 is greater. So 1/8 is less than 1/4, okay? All right, the next page, we have a number line that's already plotted for us. We have 0, 1/2, 1, which since we're counting in halves is actually 2/2, right? 2/2 is 1, 3/2, and 2. And if we continue counting, and halves, we could say 2 is the same as 4 halves because we have 1 half, 2 halves, 3 halves, 4 halves, and we know that it's 2 because when your numerator is greater than your denominator, you can divide. So 4 divided by 2 is 2, okay? Now here we have the whole number 1, and they're asking us, can you create a fraction that is the same as the number 1? Well, we know when we have a numerator and the denominator that is the same number, it is the same as the number 1. So 2 halves is 1, 3 thirds is 1, 4 fourths is 1, 5 fifths is 1. So you can go ahead and drag whatever number you want. I'll say 6 is 1, right? And here, what fraction is the same as 2? Well, you can do 2 over 1. That's the same as 2. Or you can make a fraction that is greater than, your numerator is greater than your denominator. For example, if you did 6 thirds, that's the same as 2 because 6 is greater. So when the numerator is greater, we divide. 6 divided by 3 is 2. So that would work. Or you can do 4 halves. Again, 4 is greater. So 4 divided by 2 is 2. So any of those fractions would work in that case, okay? All right, here I think this is, yeah, let's look at this problem. We have 4 halves. We know that 4 halves is 2. And how do we know to divide? Because when the numerator is greater, we divide. 4 divided by 2 is 2. And here we have 1 half. The numerator is 1. It's smaller, so we wouldn't divide. It would say 1 half. Well, we know that the whole number 2 is greater than 1 half, okay? And then I think, oh, yes, I have one last problem here. So if you have 5 fifths, remember we have a fraction where our numerator and denominator are the same. So that means 5 fifths is the same as the number 1. And 2 over 1, our numerator is greater, so we would say 2 divided by 1 is 2. Now that we converted both of our fractions, we could say that 1 is less than 2. So please watch this video before you do your assignment today, and I hope this helps. Bye-bye.